let's get into it. I want to pull up this clip because this is. I want to play this and I want to get y'all thoughts. Make sure you are chiming in the chat, y'all. Make sure y'all let me know your thoughts on this. Here we go.
Women are the dumbest group in America. They're literally train crash outs. All of their ideology is backwards, and everything that they believe in is dysfunctional. These are the defenders of the dysfunction and the chaos. They encourage it. And you know that because look at Texie Red. They allow her to sell booty hole brown and lip glosses. Disgusting. And then they get all these degrees to still come out broke alone and in debt. Not to mention they let the government convince them to destroy their children and to go against the very men here to protect them. And this is why they fall for every scam that the government push. Feminism, abortion, birth control. They even fail for the scam that they're the smartest group in America. You are not the most educated. You are the most indoctrinated. Congratulations. And you talk so much about your degrees, and black men still make more money than you, and you raise better children than you.
That's all you
Amazing.
Have to say.
And you know what? The solution is just very simple. Bow out and let black men lead. Simple.
She said what she said. Prove her wrong. Prove her wrong. She said what she said what she said.
Now, listen. What do y'all think? What do you guys think about what she had to say? I mean, there was no lies detected.
What it do? What it do? K-Boss here. And I hope y'all doing supper. What are we going over today? We are going over, are black women the most educated or the most indoctrinated? Naomi Osaka from Dee Dee, D-E-D-E, and description will be below. You know how we do here. We always give credit to the content creators that, you know, I kind of watch and follow. Now, this is a live stream from her, and I wanted to go over it because it was quite interesting. She makes a valid point. Do I agree? I have no real opinion because I'm not a black woman. And so I kind of, you know, I like watching individuals that fall within the guidelines of the channel. And the guidelines are, why are men simping, right? And then, especially when it comes to, I don't mean to bash the black men. However, I do call out the BS and the men's simpery. And the only way a man can simp is if there's a woman that is allowing the simpery to happen. Because, you know, I grew up in a two-parent household system. My mom was, you know, supposedly independent. But anytime my dad put his foot down, she didn't do it. Now, they started arguing after, you know, I left the house when I was 19. And I'm now 50. He passed away in 46 years. And I got to where we get this, and I don't mean to bash anyone. I'm not trying to put her on blast and say she's right or he was right. However, the facts are put that it was his guidance that is allowing her to still live in a home that's still valued well over what they spent on it originally. It was his provisions that she's still living off of today, and the things that he set up today. And I've noticed everything that she's changed of his that was in his name or in his setup has fallen apart. Now, my dad was very good at seeing things, and so I was able to see what it's like to have, you know, a father in the home. Now, I don't know what it would ever feel like, and most of my cousins had a father, whether they were in the home or not. My uncles were still in their children's lives, so they were still allowed to have certain things. But when those particular kids, no, and I'm not knocking any of them, but they all got divorced, and my two uncles that were twins got divorced, and both of my cousins, two out of two, I would say there were 6 in line, right? One passed away, and my uncles passed away, and my dad's passed away. So there's only one of us, 2 of us left or 3 of us left that are carrying on the family name, and we all have daughters. And that's one of the contemplations that my dad had. He's like, "You're the last one, real one." I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, being black. He married a black woman because he wanted to secure more blackness, and he was really big on that. And I wish he would have told me that in my 20s. Maybe I would have changed some things that I did, And at the end of the day, I get why he said that. Now, he all he could say is he did his part. Now that it's been, I don't know, 4 years since he passed, I'm looking at it like, why is that a problem? And whenever you go and try to talk to women of color, it's always this rhetoric that you have to be 6 foot, you have to be well endowed, right? You have to make over, now it's 250,000, inflation, and you have to be good with children because I have kids. You know what I'm saying? And you're looking at it like, it's interesting, but I digress. Let's get back to this.
She's absolutely right. Even though what she's saying is the truth, there will be a lot of women pushing back against that because they still want to believe the narrative that was purposely put out there to make them think otherwise. And a lot of women like to say, "Oh, you're hating on this one, hating on your own people." No, I think the problem is, as Black people, we all have been indoctrinated into thinking that we should just go with the flow. Even though we see a bunch of chaos, we see a lot of ratchity, and yeah, that's a word I made up, in our communities, we're supposed to just accept it and shut up and not say anything when it makes all of us look bad. And so I just think that we have to, just like a child, you have a child that's acting out. You have to chastise that child. You have to teach that child right from wrong. As a parent, you wouldn't be a good parent if you sit back and let your child just do whatever, knowing that what he or she is doing can cause them a problem, and it's not going to fare well for them. And you just sit back and just say, "Oh well, just let them be a kid. Kids are kids. We're not going to teach them shit. We just going to let them just do what they want to do. Climb on that ladder. I know that ladder is wobbly. I'm just going to watch you climb it and fall off and break your neck." You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just going to sit back and let you do it because you got to learn on your own.
My God.
You know what I'm saying? No, as parents, you're supposed to teach your kids right from wrong. You're supposed to be there as their support system to allow them to experience some things, but also guide them. They need guidance. They need guidance. As a parent, if you don't teach them anything and let them just guide themselves, then what's the point of being a parent? That's what parents are for.
Now, I would say as a child when I was growing up, it was a lot different. We didn't have these safety precautions, safety measures. My mom was a kind of worry wart anyway. She was always, to this day, she still tells me, "Oh, you need to do it such and such way." And I, okay. I've been doing it my whole life, right? Listening to, and I look at her, she's like, "I know, but she has to tell me something, right? She's a busybody, right? And I get it, that's her personality. Because she wants it done a certain way, right? And I was like, if you want it a certain way done, why don't you do it yourself? And everybody's like, "Oh, you talk to your mom that way?" Of course, because she's going to, oh, you did it such way, and then I would do it my way, and it worked out way better than what she had, and then she'll be quiet, and then she'll be huffing and puffing, be all pissed off for whatever reason, because, growing up as a kid, I never really listened. I would take an ass whipping and do it my way anyway. I said, "Hey, you want to do it, or do you want me to do it? Which one is it?" And I learned that from my dad. "You just sound like your dad." I was like, "Yeah," and it makes sense, because he was like, "Listen, if you want to do it a certain way, why don't you get it done yourself? Why don't you go pay? Matter of fact, go pay somebody to do it," and he would just walk away from the situation. Now, is that the right thing to do? Guess what would happen after? An ass whooping to me. anything that I got done or anything that I did that made noise or did something, got on her nerves, she whooped my ass for the stuff that she was getting in arguments with my dad over. Now, I never seen the arguments. My dad never put his hands on them. They never argued in front of me. But I knew they were in an argument because you want to know why? I would get my ass whooped for the stupidest stuff. The littlest. And it made me look at life differently. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I ain't dealing with that. And then when I find out it's all women, not necessarily just one type of woman, but all women typically do this, especially if they have a problem with a man. And then I didn't understand what feminism was, and this is the egotistical man, and now my dad's toxic masculinity, and all this other stuff started coming in. And then you wonder why, men are just like, you know what, do it yourself. If you all think you can do it better than us, y'all don't need a man, and you pick the bear, go right on ahead. Don't call us when you need us, because you didn't respect us when you had the opportunity. And I think that's where we're at in this society. Let's let her continue.
As a parent, you know that you have to guide your kids. You know that they're going to have experiences. You teach them, and give them the tools that they need. So when they get older and they have to make decisions for themselves, they are better capable of doing so. Doesn't mean they don't fall short or make mistakes. It just means that they have a solid footing to start upon. They have a solid foundation to help guide them so that they can, at least know which way to go and guide them so that they're prepared for life, what life throws at them, and any other obstacles that they may have in life. That's what parents are for, to guide the children, give them a set of rules, at least the foundation of what they should stand upon, so that they don't go out here just totally oblivious to the world and to people and to everything. That they have some morals, they have some values, they have some core things that you've given them, so that at least they go out here with something in their head to start them off as they develop and grow and build up on that and start to create their own way of life and flow of things. But they do have a foundation to start with. That's the whole point. So it would be asinine to not give them that, knowing that they got to get out here and face the world. So I attribute that to the idea of just watching your community fall apart and not have any type of guidance or constructive criticism to help lead them in a right path. And yes, of course, we can all say, yeah, listen, it's our individual lives. Nobody can tell you. That's true. But also, you got to understand too, if we're raising our kids a certain way with a certain level of standards and values and morals, and then other people in our community are just allowing their kids to just run amok and do whatever without any foundational standards or anything, no guidance or nothing, that's the next generation of young individuals that's going to have to grow up and have to deal with each other.
I'm going to leave it here just because I kind of try to keep my videos short. But she makes a valid point here, and I just want to go into the situation. Looking at it like this. You have a slew of young people that were raised in single mother households that didn't get the attention that they should have properly. I'm not saying there's not outliers like, the LeBron James's moms out there, but that's a very unique story in itself, and that was just a phenom situation. At the end of the day, I can understand why a lot of men that fall within the simpery, and I call it simpery because they elect to have this kind of scenario go on because that's what they were accustomed to growing up. They didn't have a man at home, because if you had a man at home, you wouldn't be acting this way. And that's the reason why we have a high concentration in our community that is at odds or indifferent, is because you have simp mentality versus men mentality. And simp mentality is governed by how women have indoctrinated these men into thinking that they should treat women and accustomed to putting them on a higher pedestal than themselves, just because we have individuals that didn't get that from the men in their lives, and that's the reason why they have these issues. So tell me what you think. Do you agree with her, or do you disagree?